Like, I didn't even get to talk to you guys about the columbina stuff. I didn't even get to talk to you guys about the lore because it was literally just bam, 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 bam. Like, this is next, and this is next, and this is next. They're literally, just beating the crap out of us with information. And you know, that's a good thing, but I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of things to say. It's been a couple hours now since the Not Cry Luna 1 live stream that Genshin did, and I've finally gathered all of my thoughts and feelings. I've gone through the whole live stream again, and I'm finally ready to talk about it in detail with you guys. I also want to try my best to clear up some confusion on some of the new things that we're getting, because I know a lot of people in my chat during the live stream were confused, and I've seen some stuff online too, so we'll talk about that. To start off, they're completely changing what we call the patch cycles. It's not going to be 6.0. It's going to be Luna 1, which I think is only going to exist for Nodcry, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I think when we go to the main Snezhnaya patch, it might go back to 6.0, but who knows? I want to start off by going through the trailer itself and kind of rapid fire, just pointing out the things that I noticed, the things that interested me. Starting with the first sentence that said itself by Aether, this is where our spaceship landed when Lumine and I first arrived in Teyvat. So confirming that Nodcry is the location where they first arrived. It also mentions that all he remembers is Lumine waking him up and them leaving the ship. So they arrive in Teyvat in Nodcry, they wake up, they leave the ship. That's all we remember right now. I know there are a lot of memory issues for both of the siblings involving when they first arrived in Teyvat, but I'm really hoping that some of the memory issues are resolved in Nodcry and then we can find out more about what actually happened. The timeline is a bit wonky to say the least. Then we come to this part where the wild hunt is shown and the hands are coming out of the ground and it's super creepy. When I was first watching this, I could not understand what they were saying whatsoever. And I think at one part it's designed that way. At this part, I didn't know what was being said because there were no subtitles in the Twitch stream. But now watching it back on YouTube, it says Lighthouse, Hope, Everlasting Night. And then we go from there and these massive arms come out of the ground, which is so creepy, by the way. And it says, let all mortal flesh keep silent before the light. And this crazy stuff is happening and Flynn shows up and it's insane. So I just wanted to point that out because for me, the first time I watched it, I did not know what was being said and I just wanted to know. But I wonder what's up with that. I wonder what the heck they're talking about. And obviously, it doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. The OST for Flynn's, I know you can't hear it right now, but it sounds so good. I love the strings in it. It's amazing. Okay, this part right here, I don't know if I'm reading too much into this or not, but Flynn says, viewing the world through human eyes is like looking into a kaleidoscope. It's so complex and yet so beautiful. Like, I might be reading too much into this. I might be crazy. I might be overthinking. But like, is he not a human or is it just the way that this is said? Because when I first heard this, I was like, is he not actually a human? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I definitely could be reading into it way too much. And maybe he's just saying like, yeah, I'm a human, but the world through human eyes is so beautiful. Like, I don't know, whatever. Okay, this part, I was absolutely gagged. Sandrone in Catherine's place, absolutely aura farming. She looks so good. Love her design. She definitely won't be there permanently. I think it's just our first meeting with her happens to be here where her creation Catherine is. But I'm pretty sure after this, Catherine will still be at the Adventurers Guild. She'll still be in her spot. We see later in the Nodcry live stream that she is at the Adventurers Guild for like one of the events or something. Yeah, I think it's just for now thing. But imagine if she did completely replace her. That would be so funny. Also, the absolute attitude on her is crazy. She calls Nodcry the Dominion of the Fatui, even though there is an active dispute happening on who has control over Nodcry right now. Like, she has such a bratty personality, but honestly, I kind of love it. Okay, Dory and Nodcry, I honestly think is hilarious, but I love that they're bringing old characters into Nodcry. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and really different from what they've done in the past with the other nations. Nefer and her cat, I honestly think that her in-game model looks even better than the 2D model that they showed in the teaser. She looks so good. Also, you can kind of see here, let me see if I can pause in time. You can see, I think she's looking at a map of the Fatui stronghold in Paha Isle. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it looks like from here. This part with Anefa. Goofy as hell. Obviously, Aino is absolutely adorable. But then they start talking about Kuvaki, which is the elemental force in Nodcry. It's described as a pure primordial form of elemental energy. I also looked up the word Kuvaki. Apparently, it's a Finnish word. Ku meaning moon and Vaki meaning power or people. moon power or moon people. Really exciting because it's another pure or primordial form of energy, kind of like phlogiston or like the primordial sea. Now we have here with Llama where they talk about the moon chanters being able to see the true past, which I would like to know what they're seeing. Llama says that she's still trying to piece together the many fragments of the past, but the part that I was really excited about when she brought up them being the descendants of the ancient golden realm of Hyperborea. So I'm really hoping we'll get to learn more about the other samsaras as well. Also, the vocals in Llama's OST, chef's kiss, so good, so good. Okay, this line about the moon goddess returning and it being Columbina, oh, so excited. When she said, I still wish to return to the moon that belongs to me, like, yes, girl, I would love to see it. Okay, so there's this whole thing going on with the Fatui and with the people of Nodcry, where the Fatui are trying to gain control of Nodcry, essentially. They want to be the rulers of Nodcry, it seems, or at least that's the way that Sandrone puts it out there. So I just want to point out, my current theory is that Sandrone is the puppet and the big guy is Elaine Guillotine, or at least like his consciousness. I don't know if that's true, but that's like currently what I want it to be, I guess. I feel like that would be really fun. We do also get to see him in action a bit here, which is very cool. I can't wait to see this in its entirety. I think it's this frame right over here. Yeah, here it is. Bro, I can't wait. Yeah, so there's this big conflict going on where there is no current ruler in Nodcry, but Sandrone says the Fatui are simply establishing a new order. They want control of Nodcry, probably because of the power that's going on here, but I think this is going to be really interesting. Then we hear Nefer here saying that the Curatorium of Secrets tries to stay neutral. They're very strict about being neutral. They don't take any sides, but at the same time, you can see Yehoda, who is part of the Curatorium of Secrets, looks like she's kind of going against the Fatui here. So even though they say they stay neutral, and we also saw Nefer looking at the map potentially of the Fatui stronghold, maybe may not be so true. Who knows? Maybe this is like a voice line that they spliced into it where like it's a bit misleading. Who knows? And then comes one of my favorite parts of the trailer. Here, I suspect your spaceship has been intentionally hidden away, which I'm pretty sure this is Columbina that says this. Who's hiding it? I guess the Fatui. And why? What's there? I want to learn. Like, I want to see it, guys. And then this part, are you wondering if your sister might be in cahoots with the Fatui? Now, this is something that I was actually wondering about a long time ago when we first found out that there might be another Fatui harbinger that we don't know about. Part of me was like, yo, what if it's the sibling? Like, back then I was like, yo, this has to be just a crazy thought, like, can't be real, but like, what if? But what if? Or even if they're not the missing harbinger, the 10th harbinger, them being in cahoots with the Fatui, it's along the same vein. Just know that like my antennas are up and they are listening. Then this part here, another time when Lumine or the sibling is asking us not to stop them. And you can see Aether, or like the sibling that you choose at this point in time, draws their sword against their sibling and she looks shocked. Like, Lumine actually looks shocked about it. Like, she never expected Aether to actually go against her and pull his sword against her. There's gonna be some drama. And then there's this very ominous last line from Columbina. Take care, the moon can be treacherous. Super ominous. I do want to point out that the devs themselves, 3 months ago when they released the Nodcry video teaser thing, they said that Varka was gonna be the first familiar face, the first person that we see in Nodcry.
当你到了一个陌生的城市旅行，你第一个想要见到的人是谁呢？大部分情况下是你的亲戚朋友，对吧？或者是非常熟悉的网友。这个道理在诺德卡莱也是一样的。我们认为最能给旅行者带来安全感的，就是我们非常熟悉的七风骑士团的老朋友，哪怕是只闻其名的大团长法尔加。法尔加目前正在诺德卡莱对远征中的一些发现进行调查。
That seems like it's a big fat lie at this point. Unless there's going to be like a sneak Varka cameo that they didn't show in the live stream, I think it's just him goofing around, leaving us clues around Nasha Town and not actually showing up. Unless I read too much into what they said in that video and they were just saying, oh yeah, you're going to see a familiar face in Nodcry, Varka's going to be there, but he's not actually going to be the first person that we met. And like, I just totally read it the wrong way. I don't know. I guess I had it in my head. I was expecting to see Varka much sooner and to have him be a part of the introduction of Not Cry, but it doesn't seem to be that way. They then go on to show us a lot of the new stuff that's coming. So for exploration, there's something called the Kuhenki, which I thought was meant to represent Nicole. Maybe it still will. And they show us how you use that in exploration a lot, which is really cool. They showed us the Kubaki powers and like how the moon colors change depending on what you're doing in the puzzle. The red one kind of reminds me of the blood moon. Very cool. I wonder if there's like any significance there or not. You also may have noticed that a lot of the NPC models have been updated. They look a lot nicer. It's really great. Like I said before, when Dory showed up in the trailer, there's going to be a lot of old characters in Not Cry. If I remember off the top of my head, Charlotte's going to be there. Obviously, we saw Dory. Wanderer is going to be there. Albedo. Obviously, we know like Alice, Varka, all those big names will be there. But I feel like I'm forgetting someone, like someone that was just casually mentioned in the last patch. So whoever that may be, if I am forgetting them, please let me know. They also directly mentioned that moon wheels are like visions and that they help channel Kuvaki and draw power from Tevat's 3 moons. We know Ennieee, Lauma, and Flynn's all have moon wheels. I previously theorized that characters that have moon wheels are the ones that are going to be able to trigger the lunar reactions, and it turns out I was right. I'm not going to go into lunar reactions and the Verdant do stuff. I'll leave that to the theory crafters. Really, really love that they added character-specific world interactions. It really makes me feel more immersed, even if it's something small. Including the characters being addressed directly when talking to NPCs. All of this stuff is so nice. If you have ennieee and you already got her to friendship level 6, you know that you get this mysterious bolt from her. And now we find out that you can use those mysterious bolts to actually upgrade both ennieee and Aino's little machine thingies, like how they look, just a bit. You can get them in Not Cry as well. You don't need to have ennieee to get them. There's more to get. You can actually upgrade them, which I think is so cool. Character story quests are kind of being done away with for a while. Instead, learning about characters is going to be integrated into the Archon quest, kind of like how they did with the Archon quest in 5.8 with ennieee, where it was kind of like a 2-for-1. I honestly don't mind this, but I do expect Archon quests to be much longer because of it, which I don't really mind. We'll still get our individual character awards for completing the quest too, which is nice. Let's talk a bit about Columbina. She has left the Fatui Harbingers. I repeat, she has left the Fatui Harbingers. So it turns out she's actually from Not Cry, and the statues are apparently her past self. She was worshipped as a deity before joining the Fatui. But for now, she's hiding from the Fatui, and we don't know why she's left. However, later on in the live stream, when they're talking about the Fatui, they say, naturally, the Fatui wouldn't skip on such an opportunity to seize the god's authority. Hearing this made me think about Piero's line in the Shades video when he was talking about the price of killing a god. Now, this might be totally off base, but I'm gonna throw a theory out there. What if the Fatui were gonna kill Columbina for her authority, and that's why she's now hiding from them? Obviously, it could be something less drastic, like she could have kept working with them and they would have the authority by proxy, but then maybe she realized that she didn't want the Fatui to have the authority, and that's why she has now left them and is in hiding. I don't know. But we do know for a fact that the Fatui are trying to retrieve Columbina at all costs through the Pale Star Edict. I can't wait to actually see what the real answer is, but it's fun to theorize nonetheless. Side note, teapot mains, rise up. We're getting some super cute furniture from the thing where we talked to Columbina, and like complete requests for her. Looks so cute. Also, I'm really glad we get to talk to her in this version. I think that's really cool. Then we have meeting points, a more interactive and immersive experience that I'm looking forward to. I wonder if they'll be voiced or not though. I'll make a really quick mention of the banners for the patch. So in the first half, we have Llama and Nahida with Kuki, Barbara, and Kaveh. They sneakily put that in there. And then the second half is Flynn's and Yelan with Aino, Sucrose, and Dory. There's also a Sumeru Chronicled Wish with Dia, Alhaitham, Wanderer, Sino, Nilu, and Tignari, and all of their respective weapons. And obviously 2 new artifact sets. I won't go into that. Now, they didn't go into massive detail about the specific events in this patch, but the one I noticed right away was the overflowing favor for double artifact drops. Perfect for farming the new sets, and we're also getting a free 4-star catalyst from the patch's main event. Local legends now have their own bounty requests with more rewards. There is also a new Imaginarium Theater mode, and it unlocks something called Lunar Arcana. They are collectibles that you can apparently trade with your friends, and they even have some lore. They kind of look like tarot cards of some sort, judging by some of the names. I'm guessing each time you beat this new stage, you get a random card. If you get a duplicate, that's probably one you're going to want to trade with your friends if they have something that you want, but it's just my guess. Obviously, there are a few other things like new echoes, more stuff added to the rhythm game, and Another small but really fun thing is the Traveler's Tales are now permanent, and you can even invite a specific character that you want to see in the world, and you can go and find them and talk to them, which I think is really fun. Then they showed this amazing animation that really reminded me of Arcane's art style, but it was absolutely gorgeous. They had the annual orchestral performance of the music, and I cried. It was so good. I'm really loving how Nod Cry's OST sounds so far. If you want to see my reaction to that, go watch my live stream reaction. Go skip to the part where the music was. I actually could not help myself from crying. It was so good. I want to talk to you guys about the song's lyrics too, because they're very interesting, and I think they can really tell a lot about Nod Cry, the people, and also what it's going to be like, and maybe a bit more about what the story is going to be as well. The song is in Latin, and they have Aurora singing here with this gorgeous dress that I do think is symbolic of Columbina as well. I think she is meant to represent Columbina. Also, completely side-eyeing all of the eyes on her dress. I don't think that's an accident. Here she sings, "My little doves, bring from that golden city the song of my homeland." Now, I think the golden city is meant to be Hyperborea. Now, there's a major theme in Nod Cry of suffering and looking toward the moon for benevolence and salvation. And even though there's despair, there's very much a clear tone of perseverance here. They're not giving up. It's sorrowful, but it's strong. I think that's represented both in the lyrics and in the music too. This line here, "We would rather let the frigid night of death blind our eyes than to sing in disgrace for a false radiance." I kind of feel like that could be a nod to Celestia and the false god. That golden city was devoured by flames. She was once bound and humiliated, but she will one day rise from the ashes, and with hope lead her people back home. Obviously, the golden city being mentioned here, Hyperborea again. I think this line, "She was once bound and humiliated, but she will one day rise from the ashes, and with hope lead her people back home," makes me think of Columbina, and of course the previous moon, and now the new moon rising after. This part here, I believe, is the current Columbina, or maybe the Columbina that first came back to Nod Cry. Finally hearing the people of Nod Cry and asking, "Why do you weep? Who do you mourn? Who do you weep for?" basically. Her realizing these people are suffering and learning. And then here, the new moon rising. The rise of the new moon and the salvation of the people of Nod Cry. "With you, I cast off suffering, and for all living things, wipe away their tears. And at the end, may the moonlit world know light once more." I think it's really interesting, the symbolism here with Columbina and the story that they tell in these lyrics is really beautiful. Now, the combat theme is a bit more straightforward in message since it is a combat theme, but it's still really interesting to go through the lyrics and also the musicality nonetheless. The whole song reminds me of a battle cry, obviously very fitting, but the tone gets even more serious to me. At this point here, when the bagpipes chime in, it really feels like they're leading the charge. Then right after, we have the singer Clara Sorace come in and add another layer to the cry. She did an amazing job, so beautiful. Immediately after that, the orchestra starts feeling even more grand, and this part coming up here gives me insane chills every time. Then this chant starts, and oh man. Wow, the resistance is really starting. They mention awakening the slumbering truth, perhaps a nod to what Lama was saying about uncovering the truth of the past and burning away the filth of their homeland. This very small but particular part right here really hit for me. Wow, the people are ready to fight, and it's represented so well in every way. Absolutely beautiful. They knocked it out of the park as always. If there's one thing that Genshin does really well, it's their music. And as somebody that went to school for music, I actually have a degree in music. I really appreciate it. It was amazing. They also show the UGC content, which I don't think is coming in this patch, but soon. And it looks really cool. Everybody's saying Roblox, and you know what? True. But it looks really cool. It looks like there's character customization, which I personally really appreciate. All of the different games that people can make. It looks really exciting. I mean, obviously it's different from Genshin itself, but it has Genshin aspects, and I think it's going to be really cool for the community. So I'm excited for that a lot. Now I'm going to get into the anniversary awards, some of the optimizations, and hopefully clear up a bit of the confusion with some of the stuff that's coming. So the anniversary awards are fairly standard for for Genshin at this point. We're getting the Uyola cat. I think it's Uyola cat, but I don't know for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we're getting the Uyola cat as our new buddy, which is super cute. The rotor hovering daybed, also super cute. A total of 20 pulls, 10 from a login event, and then 1600 primos from the mail. 1 Dust of Enlightenment, some experience books, Moira, okay, Overwatch. Mora, 1 Sanctifying Elixir, and 2 Fragile Resin. All pretty, common stuff. The initial top-up bonus is once again getting reset as usual. So yeah, like I said, all pretty standard, but I'm most excited probably for the Daybed and the Uyola cat just because they're super cute. The 5-star standard character selector is back again with the addition of Mizuki now. They've also changed this a bit for new players. They made it so that new players in the future can still get their free character. In their words, they are dynamically adjusting the duration of the 5-star selector event. More details to be posted later. They also give enough materials to get that character to level 60, so that's very nice. The real surprises and a bit of confusion and controversy are what comes next. So in Genshin currently, if you already have a C6 character and you pull another copy of that character, all you receive in the game is 25 star glitter. Pretty lackluster. Now, alongside that, you'll receive something called Masterless Stella Fortuna. This Masterless Stella Fortuna will allow you to level any character of your choice past 90 and up to level 100 with no extra materials needed besides this Masterless Stella Fortuna. So let's get into a bit of the details of how it works. I'll give you an example. On my account, I already have a C6 gene. Now, I've pulled another gene past that point, unfortunately. Now, let's say when I go to pull for Lauma, I lose my 50-50 to gene again. Please do not let this be real, okay? This is hypothetical. I'm not manifesting this. So, because I pulled Jean there, I will receive 1 Masterless Stella Fortuna and the 25 star glitter that we would normally get. And I can now use that single Masterless Stella Fortuna to level any character on my account past level 90 and up to 95. So it will just take 1 Masterless Stella Fortuna to get 1 character to level 95. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna bring my Flynn's up to level 95 or something. From there, if I want to level him up to level 100, I need 2 more Masterless Stella Fortuna. So that means 2 more copies of the character I already have at C6. So 3 total to level a character, 1 single character to level 100. Now, I kind of have mixed feelings about this, to be honest, because on the one hand, this is nice for longtime players that managed to rack up a few C6 standard characters over the years, like myself. Also whales that, have lost a lot of 50-50s and so on and so forth, right? This also applies retroactively, by the way. Anytime I've lost my 50-50 to a character I already have at C6, I'm gonna get the stuff back for that, even if it was like way, way, way long ago. So now I no longer have to fear getting a C10 Chi-Chi creeping around the corner on my next lost 50-50. So it's nice to finally get something more besides some measly star glitter, but it's extremely limiting. It really sucks for people that don't have access to this at all, and it's a very high ceiling to reach. D6ing a character, even a standard character, takes a lot. So I'm sure more people would like to level their favorites to 100. The good news in all of this is I personally don't think Hoyoverse will balance their game around this. I don't think that they're going to start making content that's balanced around level 100 characters. I think they're going to keep it the way it is, and the level 100 would just be like a bonus to the people that are able to get it. At least I think it would be absolutely bonkers if they shaped their entire meta around that, because only a small amount of their player base can actually take advantage of it. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know what the difference between level 90 to level 100 is going to be. Again, that's something I'll leave to the theory crafters, but I do have faith that level 90 characters will still be the basis for the game's balance. There was one more big surprise too, with a mouthful of a name. To temper thyself and journey afar. This one took a second for me to wrap my head around, but essentially the system allows you to get constellations for a select number of characters that you may already have. I'll show the available characters on screen here. Keep in mind again that you need to have the character on your account already to get a constellation for them. Basically, every week you have to complete these training goals. You have to complete 5 daily training goals to get 1 weekly training goal. So they want you to play 5 days a week, log in, do your dailies, spend 120 resin, and that will complete your weekly goal. goal. Now, after you completed 8 weekly goals, you can claim a constellation for any one of these characters. Keep in mind that you can only claim 1 constellation per character, so no duplicates. The cycle lasts for 12 weeks, so even if you don't complete it within that 8 weeks, you have 4 extra weeks to make up your time. And then after that 12 weeks, a new cycle will start and you can do the whole process again to get another constellation for a different character. Honestly, I like that they're doing this, but I wish it wasn't so restricted in what we could pick. The characters we get to choose from are pretty limited, and I wish we could pick the same character more than once, but at the end of the day, I guess it's free, and we're essentially getting 4 5-star characters out of it, but it would be nice if there were more. Maybe in the next anniversary, who knows. Okay, next let's get into some smaller optimizations that are coming that I think are pretty good, honestly. There's the upgraded treasure compass in Nodcry. Dust of Enlightenment is now given in the lunar treasuries, and now artifacts with 3 substat lines show the hidden 4th affix so that you know what's worth rolling. This one I honestly thought was a little bit weird. It's a good thing, don't get me wrong, but I thought it was a little bit weird. So this is basically implying that like when you get an artifact, they already know what the 4th affix is going to be even before you roll it, and now we're just like privy to that information as well. Like that's fine, but I just thought it was interesting. Really nice changes in resin spending are coming too. Michael was not lying when he said that crafting condensed resin is a hassle and a half, but we can now directly consume 40 resin for double rewards instead, which is super nice. Condensed resin has now been increased to 60 instead of 40 for tripled rewards. But to be honest, I don't know why they didn't just do the same thing where they let us straight up consume 60 resin off rip. Condensing will still be nice though on the days where you don't have time to do the actual runs themselves, and making it 60 instead of 40 gives you a bit more room to condense even more resin than before. Plus, there's even more. So now in the first week of a character's release, all talent and weapon domains will be available for you to farm. It'll be really nice in that first week when you're first building the character, but honestly, I really wish they removed the restriction entirely. I don't really understand why certain domains need to be on a certain day after the first week. Kind of just seems like a silly restriction to me. For me, normally I get my characters built in that first week anyway, but even still, like, I don't know. There are a few more optimizations that I'm not really planning to discuss in this video, but I'll put them on the screen for you to see. They also mentioned that on September 28th, Genshin Impact's 5-year anniversary, they're going to be releasing another little animated video, which I'm really excited for, but prepare your tissues, me at myself, because I know I'm gonna cry. So look out for that on September 28th. I will also post a reaction to it then. And yeah, guys, that's everything. There was a lot of information in that live stream, and I honestly just felt so overwhelmed and my brain was spinning throughout all of it, because when I say they were going rapid fire in that live stream, they really were. I didn't even really manage to get all of my full thoughts out, so that's why I was taking the opportunity in this video to go through everything that I found interesting, everything that I noticed, and just kind of talk with you guys about it, kind of put it out there because I really didn't get the chance before. Overall, I'm really excited for Nodcry. I think it's going to be super exciting. I love a lot of the changes that they're making, and I'm excited to see where the story's going. I mean, I feel like I say this all the time, but really that's what I'm always most excited for, because Genshin Impact's story is the biggest thing for me. I love the lore. I am a lore appreciator, a lore enjoyer. So I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about the upcoming patch, what you think about all of the changes, what you think about some of the stuff that we're getting. If you haven't already, come check out my Twitch. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays normally, and I always stream the big updates, live streams, and all that good stuff. So come check us out over there. Come join the Discord, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Bye, you guys.